Hi everybody, I'm Josh Constine with TechCrunch TV, and today we're here with Sjogreen, formerly of Facebook, but now with his new startup called Puppet. And Puppet is an app that lets you do sort of show and tell, lets you narrate your photos the way that you would if you were showing someone on your phone. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about what inspired you to build this app.
So we started Puppet, Adrian, Graham, and I, earlier this year, really because we just had this observation that every time people got together, saw old friends, got together with family, someone would take out their phone and start telling a story using those photos. And we realized that that was a just incredibly rich way to tell a story. You got not just the photos that people were talking about, but all of the story and the narrative that sort of brought them together. And it was incredibly powerful when you were together in person. But when you wanted to share that with someone who couldn't be with you in person, there was just really no way to do that. My parents live far from me, and when I try and tell them about what's going on with my kids, there's really just no way to share all the sort of experiences and memories that we're busy making over here on this coast with them on the other side of the country.
And so a lot of people would say, oh, can't you just use a video to tell a story? But there's problems with video, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always a place for video, but one of the things I found is that when you want to sort of express an idea that's, a little bit more complicated, or you want to tell a story that takes place over the course of a day or a weekend, it's really quite difficult to do that with video, or at least video that feels really good at the end of the day. You have to edit it together, you have to go through all of this work. But just taking a few photos of what's going on and then telling the story about it, just naturally, again, as people already know how to do in person, is a really easy and effective way to sort of share that experience.
Yeah, I mean, I know I don't think in video, so whenever I shoot a Vine or an Instagram, it just looks kind of silly. Like it's terrible quality, just me panning around. But I always wanted to share what a moment of mine looks like, or what an afternoon or a weekend is like. So why don't you show us what it's like using Puppet?
Okay. So let me show you how to make a new Puppet. From the Puppet home screen where you see all the puppets I've made already, you just tap Create New, and then you see all the photos in your camera roll. I've got an album here from my kid's first day of school at kindergarten last week, and I'm just going to pick a few of those photos. So choose the ones I want to use to tell my story, and press Next. And then from that point, basically, you see a full screen version of the photos, and you can do everything you normally do in the Photos app. But what Puppet lets you do is record this. So I'm going to tap on the microphone. So on the kids' first day of kindergarten this year, we made a special breakfast. There's the smiley face pancakes we made, and that's them at the table. That's Lily and Charlie. Them outside the front door getting ready for the big ride to school. And that's them in their classroom. That's Lily in the back, and Charlie right over there. And then when you're done, you just press Save. And you can then share that Puppet you made with anyone via email or SMS, or post it to Facebook and Twitter. And if I just play that back briefly. So on the kids' first day of kindergarten this year, we made a special breakfast. You'll see that everything I said and all of my interactions with the photos, zooming in or tapping on the screen to draw attention, are recorded and saved as part of the Puppet that you can send.
So you've seen a lot of really interesting examples while you've been testing this app. What are some cool things you've seen people do with Puppet?
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things I'm most excited about what we've seen so far is the wide variety of ways people have used it. As we've talked about before, I've been using a lot to share sort of experiences with my kids and my family with my parents, and that's just sort of a pretty typical personal use. But we've also seen some examples on the extremes. So one of the ones I'm really most excited about is how successful the product has been to actually let kids make something themselves that feels pretty high quality and special. So we've had young kids actually talk through projects they've made in a way, in their own voice, and really operate the product entirely on their own, which I think is really pretty amazing. There are not that many things that a 5-year-old can make that feel like they're really quality and capture them in a unique and personal way. So that's sort of on the kids' end of the spectrum. I think some of the other examples that I've been really excited about are how some teachers who are in our Friends and Family program have been using the product to actually explain something to people. So one of our teachers loves to talk about science concepts and explain them with pictures. And it's really just amazing when you listen to a puppet talking about, he made one of why a turtle can't come out of its shell, how that idea sort of sticks with you in a way that's much deeper because you're really focused on the photos and you're really listening to him talk about it, and you feel like his personality and enthusiasm really comes through.
So do you see this as sort of a competitor to things like Vine and Instagram or Snapchat even, or is this something completely different?
We think of it, it's pretty different. I think if you think about all the tools we have to communicate an idea that's a little bit more complicated or personal on our phones today, or tablets for that matter, there are really just not that many options. I think there are lots of options for capturing something quick and in the moment, but if you want to explain how a product works, or talk about a science example, or explain your weekend over time, I think there just isn't a lot of, there aren't a lot of good tools for doing that today. So we think of it as pretty different.
So if you're trying to figure out a way to share not just a single moment or a quick snapshot of your life, but an overarching narrative or an arc, something that has a theme to it or a story, then Puppet might be your jam. So go download it.